Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel and welcome back to our Springtime in the Smokies series. This is our second video in the series and we're going to show you the elk in North Carolina. We're going to visit the two most popular sites to see elk in North Carolina. So come along with us, don't forget to subscribe, and let's get started on our journey. So elk were reintroduced into the NC Mountains, or the Great Smoky Mountains, in 2001. This is a great pamphlet that you can find around some of those towns around like Cherokee, North Carolina. I'm also going to link this website in the description box here on the pamphlet, and you can pull this up online as well. It has the same information on the website. It has this great map inside that shows two of the best locations to spot elk or to see elk, and these are the two locations that we're going to cover in my video. We visited the Oconaluftee Visitor Center in the spring of 2021. We also went to an elk festival in the fall of 2019 in Maggie Valley, and that's when we went to see the Cataloochee Valley and saw the elk there in the fall. So we're going to cover both of these areas in our video today. And we're going to share with you some of the tips and the information that we learned on our trips. Now this is leaving Cherokee. When you get past the stores and the restaurants, and you're going to come to this sign in a forest area. Once you pass that forest area, it's going to open up into this great valley, and the Welcome Center is right down there on the right. You'll see there's mountains on the left, mountains ahead of us, and mountains on the right. So it's beautiful scenery, but this is where it's a great spotting area here for the elk. Those are white signs along there telling you if the elk are present in the fields to not enter the fields, is what all those white signs there say. So we want to show you the Welcome Center, and we'll show you some of the elk that we saw here in this area. It's a beautiful area though. I really would encourage you to come out and visit this area. This is in the afternoon. This is probably around 6 or so. This is right at the Oconaluftee Welcome Center. There's a museum, or a farm museum, back there with those old buildings, and we'll show you a couple clips of those. But these are some of the elk there, and they'll actually walk across there into where the buildings are later on in the clip here. You'll get to see that. But lots of elk out here, and they're just kind of grazing. It was a really good time of the day. We'd been here earlier in the day and we didn't see them, so we came back that afternoon. So this is a really great location right outside of Cherokee. It's only just a couple minutes right outside the town. They have a great restroom here if you've got to use the bathroom. Also, Mingus Mill is within 4/10 of a mile right from here. So there are two great trips you could plan within the same day. Also, Mingo Falls is right probably 20 or 30 minutes. So the restrooms are located in a separate building from the Welcome Center. So if the center is actually closed, you would still have access to those. The Welcome Center does have a large parking lot, but I imagine in the fall when the leaves are changing, that might fill up really quickly. So just plan your trip accordingly. There are a lot of pullover places on the side of the road if there were elk present for you to take photos. This is the sidewalk behind the Welcome Center. It has a 1.5 mile trail that runs along the river here. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then there is a trail that leads to the farmhouse and the museums that we're going to take you down first. You'll see these signs here present along the trails and along the fields and the roads here around the Welcome Center. Just warning you that these are wild, dangerous animals, so you don't want to come in close contact with them. It warns you to stay at least 50 yards away from bears and elk, and then if the elk are present in the fields, that you're not to be walking there. There are some park rangers, and they'll enforce the warnings and can give you a fine. So, you want to obey those rules. This is the river here, and we're coming up along the farmhouse. This is an old farmhouse here. It's really beautiful, set in this mountain scenery. There's also a couple of the other old buildings here, the farm buildings. There's also the barn. And then you'll see a picture of the apple orchard that they also have some fencing around so the elk don't come into the fencing. And this is from the parking lot at the Welcome Center, right outside the parking lot. Again, we saw some turkeys back in here. That's a little turkey walking across here. And then you'll see the elk again, and you can kind of see how they'll actually walk over into where the buildings are that we previously just took the videos from. So you definitely want to be careful if you are walking through here, because they could come right over to where you're at. And these photos are from the trail that runs alongside the river. You could see the cars there. That was the road that we came in, and then there's the field, and then there's a wooded area, and the elk were laying right along the edge of the wooded area. There's actually a bull there that still has his antlers, so he was really neat to get a picture of him, and then all of the other elk were laying down. I couldn't zoom out much on my camera because people had actually walked across the field where they weren't really supposed to do that, and then we're taking pictures, so most of these are close-up pictures of the elk, and we are along the walking trail that runs alongside the river. And here you can see a couple people. They were not supposed to be over there. They're quite brave, especially to have their little children there. The elk might look like they're slow and not going to get up and move, but if they want to get up and go, they can get up really quickly, and then you're going to be kind of stuck if they decide to charge at you there. So don't put your family in danger just to take a good picture. Now this is leaving the Welcome Center. We're driving out to go back to Cherokee, and we pulled over, and you can see the elk are pretty close to the road here out in the fields. You can see some people back there that must have been along the trail. They're moving up to see the elk, but this was in the middle of the day, I think right before lunchtime, when the elk were out there laying down in the field, and then these were a little bit close to the road, and you can see back in the trees there that there are some elk laying down there and resting. I can't say enough about how great the Welcome Center was in our visit here. This is absolutely gorgeous place to see, even in the spring. I'm sure when the fall leaves turn, it's even absolutely beautiful to see the fall colors. It's right outside of Cherokee, so an easy drive to get to, and then lots of parking. We want to move on and show you some pictures and some video of the Cataloochee Valley in Maggie Valley. And these are where these shots are from. You'll see a lot of the elk do have some collars on, and that's not uncommon to see that around their neck. So that's what that is on that elk there. And the only thing inside the valley, there is a bathroom located inside the valley, but you'll need to pack a cooler and bring some snacks if you plan to stay for the days, because there's nowhere to purchase anything like that inside the valley. And the only disadvantage inside the valley here was getting into it. It's a steep, curvy mountain road, no guardrails. It's left in remembrance of the horses and buggies when they built the road, so it's not wide enough for two cars to pass at the same time. So if you don't mind that, driving through there, that bothers me a lot. Didn't bother my husband or my children, but that's one reason we went to the Welcome Center, was to see the elk somewhere else without having to drive down that curvy road again. But once you get back inside the valley, it is just breathtaking. They're very well kept inside the valley here. And this was in the fall, so all of the bulls had their antlers. Some of them tended to be a little aggressive. We heard lots of bugling calls, and you'll hear that on one of the clips here in my video. The elk did not come out in the valley until close to the evening. I think we got there about 3 o'clock. There's a nice farmhouse in there you can visit with a big barn. There's also a church located. A lot of the roads inside here, though, in the valley are very narrow and just one way. So if you have a smaller vehicle, I definitely recommend bringing that in here to drive. But the elk didn't come out till in the evening times. We were here about 3, really didn't see many until it started getting closer to the evening, and then they were just everywhere. I feel like a lot of the elk we saw in the valley were maybe a little larger than the elk that we saw around the Welcome Center. A little hard to say, since some of the bulls probably didn't have their antlers present in the springtime, and they seem to be a little darker in color here. You can see some of the bulls are a little bit darker in the fall. Well, we hope you enjoyed our video today. If you've not seen the elk, I really encourage you. These are great trips to take your family. If you want to go somewhere different, like to see something new, these are great trips to take your family. Check out our other video in the springtime in the Smokies series. We have a few more that's going to follow, so subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of those. We want to thank everybody for watching. We have some budget-friendly DIYs that come out on Monday, so check those videos out too. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Thanks for watching and have a great day.